Hey everyone, and welcome back to my completionist playthrough of the Baldur's Gate Saga with SCS. So continuing on in the Mind Flayer lair beneath Athkatla, we are nearing the final chamber, and there are basically two encounters in there. The first one, we are going to employ a tactic similar to what we have done for this area. And I'm going to use this doorway as a choke point, I think, and unleash a firestorm and a cloud kill into this hallway. The cloud kill to kill the Umber Hulks, of course, and the firestorm to deal some damage to the Mind Flayers. I'm not going to use this doorway because once we, if I moved my party here, and if we open the door, we are going to get immediately slammed by a barrage of different psionic abilities, and some of them could include detonates, and detonate is, even if targeted on a Senashira, for example, it's still an AoE kind of ability that deals magical damage. And although that's a very low amount of magical damage, it's still enough to interrupt our casters, and of course we want Animen to successfully unleash that firestorm. Also, yeah, Senashira doesn't have her stone skins anymore, and I want to save this cast for the final encounter, but we can at least renew her mirror images and wait for just a little bit, and we can already start casting Firestorm with Animen kind of far into that hallway, I think. Alright, so let's give him a second, and now head on in. Alright, so those are not all of them. There are some Illitharids, there are some more Umber Hulks, but yeah, this is enough. Oh yeah, so Detonate was cast on Senashira, but let's basically pull them into this room. Alright, Firestorm is unleashed. Let's have that cloud kill now. And I know that, of course, some of them will, or there's a chance that they will teleport, use that planar travel ability to teleport to us. But, you know, we'll deal with them as they come. But at least some of them should get damaged by that Firestorm as they are approaching normally, like on foot. Yeah, we have already dealt some damage to some of them, and I'm going to try to hold this choke point, but I think because of my positioning on Firestorm and Cloud Kill, I should have cast them a little bit further, I think. I don't want to progress too close to this doorway, so it's not going to be that great of a choke point, but... Alright, they're teleporting in. I think at least one Umber Hulk died from just that Cloud Kill immediately. Yeah, I think most of them managed to avoid... No, they are all injured. They are coming injured into the fight, so I think they got hit at least once by that Firestorm. Wasn't a complete waste, and the Illitharids, I guess, at least that one over there, is still walking. They also have Illitharids are like a little bit more advanced, higher level version of an Illithid, of Mind Flayer, and they actually have a heal on them. Alright, so that's that Detonate. Not a lot of damage, but an AoE magical damage spell that can easily interrupt some guys. I'm still looking at the portraits of my characters, and now I see that Senashira was hit once by that Intelligence Drain. Yeah, Intelligence Drained by Mind Flayer, a very specific name for the debuff, but yeah, it has a very distinct red icon there. So I'm actually going to pull her out of there. She doesn't need to be in that fight. And we're going to still have to wait a little bit until her intelligence improves. This is fortunately not a long-lasting debuff, but before the final fight, where Senashira is going to be a main actress in that spectacle, we want her to be at full intelligence. Anyway, Edwin leveled up, and that is going to mean, yeah, level 14 and level 7 spells for Edwin. Yes! Very nice. And we are completely unprepared for that, because he has barely any spells. And I guess I'm going to go with some Caco Fiends and some Power Word Stuns for now, but, you know, this is still a decent spell. Unfortunately, you know, if someone's at 90 or more hit points, they are going to be unaffected, but still. We might get some use out of that, but you know, we're probably not going to stick with those spells. We're going to have to do a scribing session now to give him some better level 7 spells. But anyway, now, alright, that Intelligence Drain is already off, but now we have to prepare for the final fight with the boss of this area, I guess, named Alhoon, and he's basically an undead Mind Flayer Lich. He shares a lot of properties with Liches, primarily the fact that he is immune to spells of levels from 1 to 5, And I think he usually comes with a set of pre-buffs that just screams Spell Thrust to dispel him, but of course he is not concerned with such puny spells as Spell Thrust. He is just immune to those. But anyway, now in preparation for that we're going to renew our stone skins, and we're going to give Senashira protection from magical energy. We're going to mostly solo that fight with Senashira, but probably with a little bit of help from Edwin and Kirinai. Anyway, next in line when it comes to debuffs is going to be Blur. We're going to try to improve her armor class as much as possible and make her pretty hard to dispel, because Alhoon also has access to 9-level spells. Mirror images now should be fine. And we're going to renew, or not renew, but put improved invisibility on her as well. Her armor class should be pretty mighty. Of course, we want her to avoid as many hits from the Mind Flayer, because Alhoon is still a Mind Flayer, and that's going to, come into the equation a lot. And I'm going to elaborate about some of his abilities as we see him and maybe encounter some of them. But anyway, now we're going to haste everyone, and I think we're even going to give the Boots of Speed to Kirinai for this one. Alright, and now Senashira is going to get a spell immunity to Abjuration, and we're going to proceed with Senashira primarily, but we're going to also have Kirinai and Edwin at the ready nearby. And there he is, Alhoon, starting out invisible, and yeah, that's exactly the case. His pre-buffs would all get dispelled by Spell Thrust. It would be a perfect spell for this occasion, because it would dispel his Minor Globe, all of his spell immunities, and I think he's also the first opponent that we have encountered that has both spell immunity to Abjuration and Divination, which is a pretty tough combo to crack, and that's why we have Kirinai. And yeah, he also has protection from the elements, mirror images, improved invisibility status, and also this split mind ability of his basically allows him to clear his aura, which is a term that we're probably going to discuss a little bit later once we have access to improved alacrity. But generally the point for him of that ability is to allow him to cast a spell and use a Mind Flayer ability, both in the same round. But I think sometimes he can cast like 2 spells one after another. Also, due to the fact that spell sequencers are also considered, are unleashed from your special ability menu, they are also considered abilities, kind of. So he can cast a spell and then unleash a spell sequencer at the same, in the same round as well. And he also starts out with a Mordenkainen's sword. So anyway, we're going to try to tank him kind of for now with Senashira and see what he does. Right, his first cast is Absolute Immunity, which means that for 4 rounds he's just impervious to everything that we can do. So we're going to throw this death spell already, I think, just to get rid of that Mordenkainen's sword. And we're going to go in with... he's casting something, and I can't see his spell orb. But anyway, we're going to try to dispel his illusions. Alright, that worked, and we don't want this Mordenkainen's sword to go away. Alright, so he cast Kelban's Warding Whip on Senashira, which is going to get absorbed by her spell shield. And now we need to detect his illusions once again. Oh, and he actually... I was not even thinking to talk about his trick here, the trick up his sleeve already. But that's something that he always has, and that's a really cool idea by SCS, because he always has this spell trigger with Tensor's Transformation, Improved Haste, and Immunity to Abjuration. So we didn't even manage to use our own Kelban's Warding Whip. Basically, I wanted to wait for a situation. There's a lot of things to explain here, so bear with me. Let's not get ahead of ourselves and just talk about my initial plan. Here when I, dispelled his invisibility status, I had this Kelban's Warding Whip prepared, so that over the course of a couple of rounds it could dispel his different spell protections, mostly his spell immunities, so then maybe when we have to, we could breach him, or something like that, just basically get to him with some of our dispelling spells. But we didn't even have a chance to do that. And he didn't even cast his gate. He almost always has one of the demon summoning spells, and then he casts Spell Trigger. But I guess he figured out that he's not going to get anywhere, considering Senashira's pre-buffs. He's not going to get anywhere with spells. He has access, like I said, to level 9 spells, so he has like some horrid wiltings. Usually has a gate or one of these demon summoning spells at his disposal, so it usually is the case that he first uses those and then uses his spell trigger that, you know, casts these 3 spells. And basically what they do is Tensor's transformation gives him a big hit point boost and also gives him Fighter Thaco. His improved haste doubles the amount of his attacks, of course, and immunity to abjuration makes it harder for us to dispel him. So basically now he's improved hasted, and as a Mind Flayer, of course, he still drains 5 intelligence per successful attack. So I'm not sure if we'll have to double check if he has like 2 or 3 attacks base. So with improved haste, of course, those get doubled, so he can kill anyone that's not protected against that intelligence drain very, very quickly. And basically the only way we have of protecting ourselves against that is the 3 copies of protection from magical weapons that Senashira has prepared. So basically those are going to give us 12 rounds to deal with Alhoon before he can get to us with all of his intelligence draining attacks. And I think I'm going to cast one already, just to make Senashira safe. And I think we might have to sacrifice Kirinai because he seems to be intent on pursuing her, and if she runs back to our party, he, you know, is improved hasted, he is quite fast, he's going to be faster than any of our other party members, and we don't want to have, or we don't want to incentivize him to attack any of our other party members. We want him to focus on Senashira, but for now, as long as Kirinai is hasted and not... If he doesn't have like a spell trigger or a spell sequencer with some remove magics and she is hasted and with boots of speed, she should be fine. Alright, he still has that absolute immunity, so we cannot get to him with our attacks, and that Psionic Blast was targeted on Senashira, doesn't really matter. Alright, now he has a spell sequencer with 2 remove magic and a greater malison. So yeah, I'm not sure if I mentioned that, but whenever he casts, well, over the course of the duration of that Tensor's transformation, the silver lining is that he cannot cast any spells, but he can still use his Mind Flayer abilities, and he can still unleash the different sequencers that he has at his disposal, because they are also kind of treated as abilities. So unfortunately now, whenever Kirinai gets dispelled... Alright, that was successful. We have to get away with her, because now she is vulnerable to his Psionic Blast. Now she is not so fast, even with these boots of speed. She's not going to be able to kite Alhoon quite so well. So now it's all up to Senashira, basically. Yeah, that detonate did nothing to Senashira because she has protection from magical energy, and I'm paying a close look, paying close attention to this icon here, signifying our protection from magical weapons. Whenever that goes away, I'm going to try to reapply it immediately. Right, he is invisible. We can't close these doors. We can close this one, I guess. Hopefully he's going to reveal himself. Alright, so the first protection from magical weapons is down. Let's recast it and get number 2. Right now he is without his absolute immunity, so we are getting to him, but we cut through his stone skins. This magical resistance info is due to our electrical damage with Ashridina, not hitting him. But anyway, now we can get to him, but he has a massive health pool thanks to that Tensor's transformation, so this is still going to take a little while. And yeah, those are messages of his weapon being ineffective, of course. His attacks, because we have protection from magical weapons, so he cannot get to us at all. Right, he's badly injured. Right, he can get to us. He scored a hit immediately after our protection from magical weapons, but we can reapply that. Still 12 intelligence, still can take 2 hits if needed. Alright, but he is near death. Let's just finish this nicely, Senashira. Don't let him teleport away. He has this like dimension door that sometimes you can kill him, but in most cases once he is low on health he basically drops his stuff Those are the potions that he is supposed to drop. But I think this is kind of for like role-playing reasons, I guess, that he is not killed here. With SCS, you sometimes can still get the kill, and I was hoping for that, because this is such an unsatisfying conclusion to this whole place, where he just gets away. This is real unfortunate that that happened. But yeah, he has that dimension door, and he just teleports, you know, basically out of here, I guess, and survives. So this is really unfortunate. But yeah, not that satisfying, but we're going to have to deal with it. And yeah, now we're done with this place. We have defeated him, just not killed him. And I wanted to kill him, man. I don't want anyone surviving encounters with us, man. But anyway, now we can get the goodies here. Oh man, Infravision spawned as random loot. Sick. Anyway, well, let's put it into our scroll case and just get this note. And that's it. We have conquered this place. Unfortunately, not killing the final boss, but I'm going to try to focus on like building a bridge and getting over it, I guess, instead of like dwelling on it forever. But I am not satisfied, man. Anyway, we got very notable items here. Let's first take a look at the note, which is some kind of an Illithid correspondence. It's pretty cool that it's written in several languages, some so alien as to be painful to look at. But anyway, there is a passage in common that reads, "The base is established and the infiltration continues. The hidden gathers followers and soon we shall dominate the minds of the entire..." And then it's continued in some different language. But I really wanted to do Jan's quest because you know, this is a really cool cross-reference. This is a real joy for me to like try to find different like references to different quests in the game. But yeah, we have of course met the hidden and killed him already in the process of doing Jan's quest. But for the first couple of playthroughs that I've done as a kid of this game, I didn't even know like that this was a person, as a creature that we could meet in the game, the hidden, because I didn't have Jan for the first couple of playthroughs. And only later I have discovered that, oh wow, you can actually, you know, meet this guy in person and his whole like cult of the enlightened ones. So of course this was some hidden Mind Flayer agenda that were up to no good with this whole cult. But you know, we have killed the leader of this cult and we have conquered this place. So yeah, the Illithids are up to something, as is typical of their race. But your being here has most likely disrupted their plans. We basically, you know, conquered their whole base here. And unfortunately did not kill their leader, but I'm going to try to shut up about it, finally. And do we have any like potions that we have missed? Nope. And I didn't pick up that normal short sword. I thought I misclicked on it. But anyway, the other two items, let's use our... Actually, I'm not sure. Edwin probably is not going to be able to identify them, but at least let him try. Let her try. Let Edwina try. And I should just put this adventurer's robe in my bag of holding. This is something that I'm holding for the mage that we're going to have later. Okay, you cannot identify the Hammer of Thunderbolts, and you cannot identify the Wand of Wonder. Alright, anyway, let's use our glasses, because those are very significant spoils. Here, this Hammer of Thunderbolts is a +3 Warhammer for now. Nothing special about it for now. But if you want, you can read the description. And this is basically, it's a pretty cool one, but this is a component for us to be able to craft Cromfair. That name, Silverblade, was already mentioned on Cromfair's scroll. That's the dwarven smith of legend, I guess. A really skilled smith that you know, basically devised this this weapon that he crafted for his son, but didn't manage to give it to him, or this was in plans, I guess. Yeah, because I think in the description, let me just skim over this. I think the Hammer of Thunderbolts is just mentioned here, not Cromfair itself, but I think he had a plan. Yeah, he basically took all of these items that are mentioned here are also components. So of course we have the Hammer of Thunderbolts now, and we also have the Gauntlets of Ogre Power, but we don't have the Girdle of Frost Giant Strength, which you get later on in the game, and we also have that scroll for Cromfair, mentioning the true name of what this weapon, I guess, could become. And once we get all of the components, of course, this is going to be the final weapon for Sinashira. But even now, even though this is a normal plain, like +3 Warhammer, this is going to be useful for us in some situations. I'm still going to stick to Eshidina in most cases due to that electrical damage, but now Sinashira has a weapon that she is proficient in that she can use to hit those enemies that actually require +3 enchanted weapons. She had to resort to having like wielding Daystar or the Flame Tongue for those purposes, but now she actually has a Warhammer that's sufficiently enchanted. And here we have a Wand of Wander that I think I'm going to sell. It has 50 charges, and as you can see, it applies a random effect. And there's a catalog of like 8 or so effects, and some of them are positive, like you can get hasted from it, for example. But a lot of them are also negative. Like it can unleash, I think, a thunderbolt or a lightning bolt, I should say, and fireball, I think, web it can unleash, and there's basically just a randomness that makes me not want to use it ever, not want to take any chances. Anyway, now that we're done here, I think we have some time to visit a place that I wanted to visit for some time now, and that's going to be in the Bridge District.
Certainly.
And we're also going to have to, I think, re-recruit Jan for just a moment, just to show his at a slightly later point, but we can show his really cool like re-recruitment dialogue. And here is Bertrand, the companion, whom Jan has a special dialogue with. But anyway. There's also in the Bridge District a very prominent building that I never addressed, and that is the estate of Serk Farad. Serk, of course, being the someone that we've learned of over the course of Anomen's questline, being a rival of Anomen's father, and that Cor Delrin, of course, claimed that Serk was out to ruin him, and it was Serk who was behind the murders. And now, normally there's not much of a reason to like go in here, and also depending on like who you have in your party, whether you have Anomen in your party or not, and what stage of the quest you're at, this door is likely going to be closed and is going to just not be lockpickable. And this one sometimes is locked and you can open it with a lockpick, and sometimes it's just open. For us, I think both of them are going to be open, yeah, because we have Anomen and we are done with this quest. But anyway, the reasons to entering this estate now can be like twofold. I guess first off, of course that local authorities and that official investigation of course got us nowhere, so we might still feel the urge to like maybe try to get inside, see what we can learn ourselves, and kind of conduct a private investigation of our own and kind of look for clues, maybe see if we can find something in Serk's home, which is of course not entirely what not entirely legal, maybe, if we sneak into it, but we are chaotic good, we're not lawful good. We don't care. We don't care. We care about who really committed that murder on Moira, on Anomen's sister. And the second thing is, of course, as is usually the case in RPG games, we just sense that it might have been Serk. Maybe it's a gut feeling, but of course, like I mentioned before, if we had continued the romance with Anomen, it would have turned out that it was Serk. So we might feel that he, is a shady person. We might want to investigate him anyway. So we can go through this main door, and I want to do it just for a second, because if you have Anomen, we're going to have this unique conversation. Normally he would give us just a couple of dialogue options. He would just ask us to leave, because this is a private estate, of course, and we would be able to comply or not with it. But here, he's still friendly, but he is going to go automatically. And we're back. I was interrupted by some really loud noises. I might have to cut the whole thing out of the recording now that I think about it. Well, we'll see how it turns out. But anyway, I was saying I was going to step away for a bit until the situation clears out and is under control again, and I think this should be it. We might have a moment of peace now. So after a little bit of a break, we're at it again. And what was I doing? Oh, I think I was talking about how this guy is going to become hostile after a couple of seconds, seeing how we didn't comply with his request to vacate the premises of this private property. So he is understandable in what he's about to do, but we're going to deal with him nonetheless. And I'm not going to even bother picking up these arrows +1. But anyway, as you can see, the interior of this building is exactly the same as it was the case with the guarded compound, but of course there are some differences. This one is a little bit more trapped, especially upstairs. There's going to be different goodies and different opponents, and not only opponents actually, because there are some civilians in this one that we're going to have to be careful not to kill, because if we kill the civilians on this floor, we are going to take a big reputation hit. But of course killing the guards is fine. That's okay. She's going to escape upstairs. And I'm not going to follow her. Generally, when it comes to exploring upstairs, I'm going to go outside first and enter from the outside, because I really do prefer that kind of a showcasing, that kind of a more stealthy way that you can approach the top floor. And here's one of the civilians, a commoner, and goes hostile, but of course we don't want to kill him. And the other one, the cook, is going to be in the next room.
Yes, without hesitation.
What?
What?
I love that one. Anyway, there's also a guard, so let's just have Senashira dispose of him. And now we can freak out this cook. What the hell did you just say, lady? About thieves? Huh? You want me to mess you up right now? Yeah, that's what I thought. Run away. But anyway, we're going to finish exploring this floor, and I'm not going to go up the steps because there's going to be a main group of guards up there right as we come up. And also, like I said, I kind of prefer to do the kind of a stealthy approach. It's actually pretty cool what you can do here. And I don't think any of these chests are trapped, but just in case, just to be safe, I'm going to take some traps with Kirinai. And also, since we're talking about going outside and approaching from the outside, also what I'm going to start doing is actually keeping one potion of Master Thievery active on Kirinai at all times as we are traveling through the different districts of Athkatla. And I actually should have done that right after we have exited the sewers. And although the fact that the person that's about to show up didn't spawn as we entered the bridge district makes me think that we're safe for a little while and we don't have to do this yet, but I'm going to play it safe and have that one potion of Master Thievery active on Kirinai. And that's because if you remember, Jaheira's questline, recently we have disposed of Dermin and his buddies, and the conclusion of the whole questline is actually approaching. And the Enhanced Edition actually sped up the whole thing by a lot. And I think, I just want to be prepared, basically, in the event that the character that's about to show up actually shows up already. I'm not sure if this is going to happen yet, or this early, but I'm going to be prepared for that. Because he has 4 items that I want to... well, that can be pickpocketed, and I want 2 notable of them. Basically... Jesus, guys, I know you are tired, but let me talk, okay? I have a commentary to provide here. So anyway, I'm talking about these potions of Master Thievery because we want to pickpocket that person that shows up, and they only show up to initiate a conversation, and then immediately they leave and disappear. So we don't have normally... if it was just a reactionary response, we only have time to gulp 1 potion of Master Thievery, and that's not going to be enough. I think if you are a thief that is not a Kensai and can equip the gloves of pickpocketing, I think with 1 potion of Master Thievery and the gloves you might be able to pickpocket everything off of that person, but I think with a Kensai thief this is not going to be enough, and we need 2 potions of Master Thievery, and they should be enough to pickpocket everything without too big of a problem. And this is our last chance also to pickpocket these items from that character. And yeah, so basically I'm going to have 1 potion of Master Thievery active on her as we're traveling between the different districts and whatnot. It's going to be active for quite a while, and then once we see that character, spawn and approach us, then we're going to, in response, drink another potion of Master Thievery, and that should be enough to pickpocket him. But yeah, at some point in the future we should get a conclusion to Jaheira's questline, and I'm talking about all this going outside and And inside, this is because this doorway actually gives you an autosave, and this is like a big zone transition. So
Without hesitation.
once we go outside, it might be the case that it's going to be Termincel, by the way, that Termincel spawns for us. And like I said, the fact that he didn't spawn as we entered the bridge district makes me think that it's not going to be yet, but let's just play it safe and see what happens here.
Hello, young lady. Might I have a word or two?
And he actually does spawn. This is like greatly sped up in the enhanced edition. So anyway, Termincel approaches us again and addresses Jaheira here.
Do I know you? Your voice is familiar, but I cannot place your face.
Perhaps we have met. We traveled in much the same circles, though not at the same time. Termincel is the name, and I should like to ask you a question. We met among the Harpers, did we not? I am through with them. Many a decent person I met, but damned if I'll be crucified for the failures of their own. Yes, well, calm down for a moment, if you will. I am well versed in the events that have occurred, and I have but a simple question to put to you. Then do so. I wish this matter behind me once and for all. Oh, this will clear up a great many things. I care little for the specifics of what occurred in the Harper hold. No, Jaheira, I have a question of a different sort to ask. For better or for worse, ye have thrown thy fate in with this Senashira, and she is, among many other things, a child of Baal. Yes, I know of this, so look ye not surprised. In the end, ye have gone against thine own fellows, guided by your heart. You have seen Senashira's actions and served with her through battle and peace.
Ye have done what ye have done, there is no denying. The reasons for which are thine, and I trust they are valid, if ye believe them to be. This is my question, Jaheira. Did you do the right thing?
Undoubtedly. I would do as such again without hesitation.
Senashira has proven decent, and others are all the more fools for not seeing so. And this is really cool that all of this depends on this question, that you know, it all depends on like Jaheira's perspective on the whole thing. This is a pretty cool approach here. And basically, her response is going to be different if your reputation is under 16 or under 10 if you are romancing her. She is then going to express doubt about, you know, whether she had done the right thing. But here, of course, since our reputation is high, she stands completely, you know, behind us. She is confident that she did the right thing, following her heart and whatnot. So yeah, pretty cool ending to Jaheira's questline. And then Termincel then is going to respond with, then there is the measure, then that is the measure from which the incident shall be judged. Think no more of it. Oh, and before I forget, this little item was meant for you. I believe it was forgotten in all the excitement. Wear it with pride, will you? And get back to work. I believe I have placed a proper name to your manner, now that I have experienced it up close. I should have thought you fond of anagrams, Termincel. Yes, well, one must keep amused in one's old age. Good luck, Jaheira, and do not think thyself abandoned for the actions of a few. We simply do not work like that. So she received an item. If she expresses doubt, then she doesn't get that, and Termincel leaves with a different line here, that you know, perhaps she is not as much in the right as she had thought previously. But here, of course, we get the best ending. Pretty cool conclusion to her questline. So it seems like finally this whole mess with the Harpers is cleared out, especially when you see what the item is. Yeah, as he says, you know, don't think yourself abandoned basically by the Harpers because of the actions of a few like rogue Harpers that wanted to advance their own station and whatnot. And this is Elminster, and he's going to reveal his true form in a second, but what we're going to do now is actually give the Boots of Speed to Kiranai and free some inventory space so that she can do the pickpocketing. And let's drink that another potion of Master Thievery, and I think now with 110 she should have no problems pickpocketing him. Yeah, all 4 items that we could have gotten we can get like this, and yeah, now he has revealed himself to be Elminster. So pretty cool conclusion. And I know we are over time by quite a bit, but let's talk about the loot here. So he basically, what we have done here, pickpocketing from Elminster, that was a good deed. Basically, we wanted to do a good deed here, because he didn't seem to know that you actually cannot stack different items of protection. He actually has all 3 of these items of protection equipped, and he doesn't seem to know or to be aware of that they don't actually give him a +5 boost to his armor class and his saving throws, but only +2. And of course, you know, since he's Elminster, he was able to even equip a lot of them at the same time. Although I think in pen and paper, and there are also some mods that can introduce that kind of behavior into Baldur's Gate, you can equip multiple protection items, but they don't stack with each other. Just the most powerful one, you know, counts. So here, Elminster didn't seem to notice that he actually doesn't get the +5 boost from this +1 amulet, +2 ring, and +2 cloak, but only a +2, you know, because they don't stack. But anyway, he also has these bracers of defense, AC 6, which we don't care about. And yeah, we basically get the Ring of Protection +2 off of him, and a Cloak of Protection +2. And we can give this ring to Anomen, and now his armor class, especially if we like stacked everything on him, even the Cloak of the Sewers, his armor class would be supreme, man. -12 without any magical buffs. But anyway, we have also an Amulet of Protection +1. These bracers are going to get sold, and this Cloak of Protection +2 might as well identify with the last charge of our glasses, and equip them. We equip it probably on Keldorn. Anyway, now Kirina is going to get her stuff back. Alright, and this is going to be it for this episode. A pretty satisfying conclusion, but since we are so much over time, we're going to continue with Serk's estate in the next episode. So for now, I thank you for watching this one. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.